Welcome back to Village in Motion this Tuesday, January the 7th of 2020. I'm Clint Lambert, and it's my pleasure at this time to have with me in the studio Jim Bell, who is our leading pastoral ministry individual. You are the chief of down there, right?
No.
No?
Right now we don't have one.
Oh, okay.
I'm the pastor for the Village Church.
Okay. But we are very glad to have you with us, and there's a lot of things going on at the Pastoral Ministries sponsors, right?
We have a busy January, which I'm glad for. Starting tomorrow, and there's a Bible study that Reverend Lynn Kalkwarf, who's a resident here, leads.
Okay.
It's on the parable of Zacchaeus and the king of a far country. He does these periodically, and they're excellent. They're well attended.
Yes.
They're theologically sound. They're historically sound. And that's at 10:30 tomorrow in Hunter's Crossing classroom. And then on the 9th, he also does another one, a Bible study on the history of the Bible.
All right.
And he does that each Thursday morning at 9:15 in Hunter's Crossing classroom. Right. And Thursday this week, he will do James and John, the sons of Zebedee.
Oh, super.
And then the next three are Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, and then Doubting Thomas. And the last one, which interests me, the Gentile mother.
So, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to find out.
And Lynn does such a nice job of presenting all that information.
Well, I think those are well attended because one thing, he himself is scholarly.
Right.
And so these are really scholarly biblical studies.
Yes, right.
They're theologically sound, they're historically good. So it's a robust discussion.
And where does he do these?
In Hunter's Crossing classroom.
Okay.
And the one Tuesday is at 10:30, but the ones on Thursday are at 9:15 each morning.
All right, sounds great. Very good. And some other information?
Well, the other things that are going on for us, Tuesday, January 21st, we've been having for a number of years now an annual Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration.
Right.
And that's Tuesday, January 21st at 1 o'clock in the chapel.
Is there a reason it's on the 21st versus the 20th, since the 20th is the National Day of...
Because most offices here are closed, and we've always done it the day before or the day after.
All right.
And I'm actually really glad that we do that. And of course, as a preacher, really glad because he is, of course, the only minister that's ever had a National Day in his honor. And over the years, we've had very good attendance at these. We've had really good speakers and really good musicians. So, and although he was a Christian minister, we try to make this as much of an interfaith celebration as we can because he may have addressed his issues out of his Christian background, but he certainly always addressed it in terms of what it says to all faith people in terms of justice and peace and racial equality.
He was truly a social activist.
He really was, yes, he was.
You were saying that the material that's going to be presented, you've got a speaker?
We do, and unfortunately I do not know who it is.
Okay, and music?
And music, special music.
Okay.
This is one of the big events that Pastoral Ministries tries to do each year. It takes a lot of work and a lot of planning. And
certainly.
It's one of our big events.
Very good. And what time is it?
It's at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
In the chapel.
In the chapel, all right. So get there early and get a seat, right?
Yes. Now, that would be nice if we had to do that, yes. It certainly would.
Very good.
And that's sponsored by Pastoral Ministries. And also here at Pastoral Ministries, we have at Green Spring, we have an interfaith council.
Right.
And we co-sponsor this with them. So it's really co-sponsored by the religious community and Pastoral Ministries at Green Spring.
Tremendous. Very good, very good.
Our next big event is at 1:30 on the 28th. That's on a Tuesday also. And that's an annual memorial service for all of those who died in 2019.
Yes.
And of course, you know, we have 180 to 200 deaths per year.
Yes.
We send out invitations to the families that we still have contacts with and try to do them at one time. There's so many people that it's hard to do an annual remembrance on each person's death.
Right.
So this memorial service is to say we still do remember our residents here.
And it's always well attended.
It is well attended. It's well attended by our residents. A lot of the aides that have taken care of residents who have died, And some family members come back. So,
but it's very meaningful from everything that I gleaned from it. I had the pleasure of being asked to speak a couple of years ago.
Right. I think it is very meaningful to all of us.
Yes.
For that brief hour, it sort of brings back some fond memories of friends.
Yes.
So
exactly.
I think it's very meaningful.
And do you still publish the names in a bulletin?
The names will be published.
Okay.
Yeah, we try to do that, and then of course Garden Ridge twice a year has a similar service for folks that died just at Garden Ridge.
Right.
But this annual memorial service includes everybody that died at Garden Ridge and the community at large. Right.
And so we're about 180 now per year?
Well, I don't know, but it varies between 180 to 200 deaths per year usually since I've been here.
Wow. Okay.
And a couple times it's crossed 200, but most of the time it's somewhere in that range.
Okay. All right. And it's very nice that we honor those individuals.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
In regards to it.
Yeah.
Okay. What other material that you have?
That's our schedule for that.
Okay. Well, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, you are the minister for the Village Bridge. I mean, for the Village Church.
Yes.
Okay. And what are your responsibilities in regards to that?
Well, when I came here, I'm actually called here to serve the Village Church.
Okay.
And the Village Church has 2 worship services each Sunday, 8:30 and 10 o'clock. Right. The 8:30 service started because we were trying to meet the needs of Episcopals, Lutherans, some that use, for example, bread and wine, consume all the elements. And then we have a 10 o'clock service, which essentially has about 12 different denominations in that worship service. Yeah. So it's more of a worship service that instead of coming forward to take communion, the communions are served in the pew. Instead of wine, we use grape juice and wafers. Okay. And it varies from Sunday to Sunday, right? What I'm trying to do is if you come to the church, whatever your denomination, if you come to the Village Church, you may go away saying, well, in my church, we don't do this, but because we did this, I feel like I've been to church.
Sure, sure.
So I'll try to use the communion liturgies from the various denominations or things like that.
And so it's really an ecumenical church then?
It is, very much so.
Right.
It started out when the facility was first built, it started out as the Protestant community. Right. And Mr. Erickson had Protestant community, Catholic community, and the Jewish community. That was the 3. And of course, times have changed now, so that we have many more faith groups to consider. Right.
In fact, we have the Islamics and we have the Hindus, correct?
Right. We have Unitarians. There's a Buddhist or 2 lives here, and and if you notice out in front of the chapel, like right now, they just took down the manger scene. Yes. And if you notice, several days beside of that was the Jewish banner for Hanukkah. Yes. And then the Hindu festival of Diwali has a banner up. Right. And then also at one point you noticed over on right off of the Putty Green across on that little park, a sukkah for the Jewish community. Correct. So we've really tried to make visible our religious diversity. Okay. And all of us can learn a lot by that. Right. We designated some years ago that space where the scenes are from the various religions in front of the chapel, sort of as an interfaith place, so that any of our faith groups could have a display there. Oh, tremendous. And, very nice. Is there a reason why this year we did not have a menorah on the grounds? I don't know the reason, because each faith group is responsible for providing whatever. Now, if you came into the lobby of the chapel, you would have found a glass case there that had a lot of Jewish, including menorahs. Or down in our office, we had one out, but I'm not sure why we didn't have the large. I was just curious because in the past we've had them outside in regards to it. Yeah. When individuals go to church outside of Green Spring, tithing or donation offering is often taken in regards to it. Do you do that in the Village Church? We do too, because the interesting thing is that for the Village Church and the Catholic community and Green Spring Fellowship on Monday nights, we actually are employees of Green Spring, but our salaries and all our benefits and everything are totally paid by those offerings. Oh, okay. So there's a separate account for each of us in the 501c3 part of Green Spring.
Okay.
And all of our salaries and things are paid out of that.
Oh.
So,
Right.
yeah, we have a budget at Village Church of a little over $200,000 that we need to raise just as a congregation.
Right. Okay. And so that's what your salary comes out of?
That's what our salary, that's what my salary comes out of, our administrative assistant's salary, our pastor for congregational care, and the contract organist that we employ.
Okay. Okay. So you got a large group of individuals taking care of all of us.
We do. we counted up one time, how many people does it take for the Village Church to do 2 services every Sunday? And it actually, if you start with beginning to put the bulletin together until we have the service and all the people in it, 51 people per week involved in that service.
Yeah. Well, I understand that unfortunately you just had a loss within the family.
It's in the Catholic community. The Catholic community has 2 people there that are employed by the Catholic community. And just this morning I learned that Deborah Walker, who is one of our staff members and with the Catholic community, her father died very suddenly Friday in Texas. And so she called in that she's gone down to be with her family.
Our thoughts and prayers are with her and the family. Yes, definitely.
That's Deborah's birthday was approaching, and we were getting ready to have a birthday party for her. And so now we're talking about, what kind of memorial or flowers should we send for her father's.
Certainly. Well, it's very nice to have you here and have the availability of the church. And if someone needs a pastor, needs counseling, you're always available. Is that correct?
Yes. A pastoral ministry, you can always call Pastoral Ministries, or you can always call the Village Church. But there's always a pastor available. Okay. And we encourage people, if you're still active in your home church, go to it, participate. Because, as we get older, we have to give up so many things.
Right.
And if you can still go to your church, go to it. Yeah. We're here when you need a church.
That's wonderful. Very, very good. Well, if we don't go to church, we feel like we haven't started the week right.
Right.
In regards. Well, Jim, it's a pleasure having you here, and thank you for all you do for all of us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we look forward to seeing you around a long time.
I hope. I've been here 9.5 years. I'd like to have a few more years.
There you go. Very, very good.